Hey everyone, I just wanted to do a little video on using a Canva template to create an ebook cover. You don't have to start from scratch. I know that facing a blank page, whether you're a writer or creating your own ebook cover, can be a little daunting, but with the help of Canva and a template, it doesn't have to be that scary. So let's get started. What you want to do first is start a book cover. That can be kind of crazy if you don't know exactly what you want to do for a cover, and using the templates can be a big help. So what you want to do is keep in mind your genre. So let's do, romance, since I'm a romance writer. And you can see you have a lot of different templates. And I like looking at the templates because you can see different kinds of font, where the placement is, where the author name goes, that kind of thing, and it can give you some ideas. But what I found out while I was just messing around one night is that if you choose a template, something that you like, that you want to maybe mess with, if you choose one, what should we choose? Something with some good font. Let's see. Romantic comedy, maybe. That didn't bring up too much, but let's click that one. If you use a template like this because, say, you like the font and you already have a photo in mind that you found from deposit photos, if you slide the picture into the template, the photo takes on the template elements, and that is a lot easier than starting from scratch. So that's always a fun thing to do, just to experiment. I don't know if I really like the placement of the font over her leg, but it has a nice little place for the tagline, for the author name. So we could go back to templates and maybe look for women's fiction. It really doesn't matter what you choose, because all we're doing really is looking at the font placement and maybe some of the elements that make the cover look appealing. I don't know, let's go back to romance. A lot of this is just trial and error, practice, looking for anything just that might work. This has the pink frame around it. Not sure how that would work. It just, you just experiment. You could probably change that color into maybe a red. And then all the elements you can move down or delete if you don't like them. And then it just keeps you from having to start from scratch. You don't have to worry about bleed or anything if you're doing an ebook cover. So you can put that right up to the top if you wanted. Trying to move this down just a little bit. The title doesn't make any sense, but we're just figuring out, what we like, what we don't like, that kind of thing. If you wanted to do say women's fiction, you'd go back to templates, search women's fiction, A lot of the templates are repeated, but they have enough that you can get an idea of what you like. I like the filter on this. So then we would go into uploads. I found her on deposit photos this morning. When you slide a photo in when it's horizontal like this, sometimes the entire picture can get cut off, but if you double click on the photo, then you can reposition it and then just hit enter. And then you can just bring all of this down. And then you just can experiment. And you can experiment with the placement of the photo too. Sometimes something off-center is pleasing to the eye. And a little blank space is never a bad thing. If you're doing something in a genre that's a little harder, say science fiction, that can get a little crazy because a lot of those photos take a lot of manipulation. So you'd have to go on to deposit photos and see if there's anything in a stock photo that you can even use. And then try to find a template that might fit with the font that you need. Science fiction book cover. Science fiction has its own font and things that it needs to fit in with the genre. So like this, I like the font for that. And then if you find something that maybe can work on deposit photos just to squeak you by until you can afford something on your own, depending on what your book is about, that's really not a bad cover for a science fiction book, and or maybe dystopian. You know, if you don't have a credit pack on deposit photos, that photo would have cost you $7, and sliding it into a template took 10 minutes. So this tutorial is really for the beginner who can't afford a book cover, but you know, you still want to be able to publish your book even if you can't afford a book cover or you can't afford someone to even help you. I pay for a pro membership on Canva, but everything that I'm showing you right now is free, except for the photo that you have to buy on deposit photos. Canva has a ton of photos that you can use, but I wouldn't use a photo for a book cover, not a free photo from Unsplash or Pixabay or anything. Always cover yourself and buy a photo that is safe to use from deposit photos or from CanStock Photo. That way you know it's safe and you won't get in trouble for using it for commercial use. But if, say, you didn't like this font, you could always go back to templates, search more for science fiction, and maybe you like this font better. Then you go back to your uploads and try again. And then this photo just took on the elements of the darker cover. And you don't have to keep the elements either. I mean, the brightness, look how the brightness is so low. You can put the brightness back into the photo. There's a lot of font here that you might not want to keep, but you know, it's better to do something like this than be told not to publish because you don't have a good book cover. So what else could you do? Let's see. This has a good font for a science fiction as well. So you just go back to your photos, slide it in. She wanted to stay, not a bad tagline even for that little girl. And if you think that's too dark, you can go back to adjust. And then just play with the colors until you like something. And then you just download. KDP, I think, only takes a JPEG, so you would want to just click on the JPG and download it to your computer. Make sure that if you've been experimenting that you actually download just the one that you want, and then download it. And that's pretty much all that I had to show you today. I stumbled upon sliding into a photo into a template a while back, and it's actually how I start almost every book cover that I ever make now, because I still am not good with font placement or even the kinds of fonts, and you just don't know what you're going to get until you look at a template and just experiment a little bit. But it's nice not to have to start from the beginning. A blank cover is kind of daunting, just like when you open up a blank Word document. Kind of crazy. Helps to have a starting point. And you can do this all day. Slide in pictures, figure out what you like, what you don't like. Get a feel for the filters that Canva uses. Get a feel for font placement and what makes it look good on a cover. There are different things you can do with a cover, like different elements like this line, you know, and how the font looks in the title. So, and I know this is just for an ebook cover. Paperbacks take a little bit longer, and I can do a tutorial on how to do those later. But if you're in a hurry, you have your book all edited, it's all ready to go, all you need is the cover, and your book is going to be in KU anyway. You know, go ahead and play with the templates and find something in deposit photos that will just pass until you can work on something else. And download the JPEG and upload it to KDP, and there you go. This is the poor man's cover, and always, of course, do your tutorials and take your classes if you can, and always try to get better. But for sure, playing with a template on Canva is a lot better than being told not to publish because you can't afford a cover. I've seen people be told that quite a few times, and it's just, you know, it's not fair. We all want to publish our books, and this is just a good way of doing it, you know. So play, look at deposit photos, CanStock photos. Those are my two best places to go for photos. Always buy your own and have fun. I love experimenting with Canva, and you'll get better. So thanks for reading my blog, thanks for watching this video, and good luck.